I thought I'd come on and make this video because I've been kind of in love with a lot of aspects of the AI kind of boom for a while because of things like the meta glasses, which I know a lot of people hate, but for me as a totally blind guy, they've changed my life. I can see a lot of things. I use the word "see" loosely in in ways that I could never imagine. And then I got to hearing about vibe coding, and I decided to try and make a project of my own out of absolute necessity because I use optical character recognition, or OCR, programs like Fine Reader, and I think I used OmniPage a few times, but Fine Reader was the main one. And the problem I was having with this is that I have these World War One unit war diaries from my great grandfather Albert Henry Wharton's battalion, which is the man. He was part of the Manchester Regiment, 7th Division, I think, 21st Battalion. I can't remember the actual one. I'm gonna put a description where I've expanded on this a bit, but basically, I paid money to get a hold of some of these war diaries from the British archives, and because of the way handwriting is, especially old typed records or handwritten text, even if it's digitized, it's a bit of a mess. Even for the sighted that I used to try and get them to read to me. So one night I was sitting there, I was trying to read again. I want to follow what my great grandfather was doing throughout the war as much as I could. And I thought, you know what, screw it. I'm going to try and vibe code something because nothing's working. But I suppose I need to go back a bit. I uploaded a war diary to Gemini, Google Gemini, and it read to me things about his battalion leaving from Lark Hill and going down to Folkestone. And at first I wanted to make sure that AI wasn't, I don't use the word hallucinating because it can't really hallucinate as such, but I wanted to make sure, I just don't think it's the right word, but I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't bullshitting. So I loaded it through, oh God, what did I put it through? It might have been GPT. And that was shit ass. Don't try and put any bloody PDFs through GPT. It's just disastrous. But it basically said the same thing, just not as clean and formatted. So then an idea came to me, and I kind of thought, look, I can't keep relying on the browser because if you upload certain pages, it gets truncated, everything goes wrong. I need to actually build something, and at first it was a little CLI program just using your terminal that would, using my Google API key, send the text to the model with a script that I extensively prompted. And that was a challenge because you've got to prompt Gemini, in my case, to not to invent anything or guess words, especially with things like war diaries and historical newspapers. So the trick was trying to make prompts that told the model that no matter what the original language in any document, even if it was a bit questionable in regards to today's standards, it's an immutable historical record. You've got to make it verbatim. And that took a bit of time, but after a few days of prompting and getting this little CLI thing going, I started to see differences. And I was able to start reading some of what my great grandfather's company was doing. But it wasn't great. It took, I probably tested, oh God, I probably found thousands of old war diary pages from the Internet Archive and my own little collection, and I had to run them through thousands and thousands of times to get it to a level where it could save as not only just raw text, but accessible text in HTML or Word or EPUB or something like that. And it wasn't just blind people like myself I was thinking of. I was thinking of archivists and things like that, because a lot of old text is faded. It's, even with the best scanning equipment, it's very difficult to read. So I wanted to create something that that could help a lot of people. And then it started getting beyond war diaries, and I actually ended up finding my great grandmother's name on the other side, my father's side of the family, in an article from the Newcastle Morning Herald and Miners Advocate from 1947 on Trove, which is the Australian Library's newspaper collection. And I wanted to read that too, and their scans aren't great. So I started making rules for Chronicle using articles from here and basically teaching it kind of to act like an eye. And I know that sounds a bit crazy and out there, but sort of acting like an eye, not just guessing characters like an OCR engine does, but looking at the page and going, okay, this is multi-columns. Where are the advertisements? Where is the article cutting off? Where's the rest of the article? We need to find it and get it together. If there are comics in the historical newspapers, we need to present them in such a way that even a blind person could read the comic and appreciate what's going on in the different panels. And that led me to manga, and that led me to graphic novels and a million other things that I'm still working on and developing with Chronicle. It's cost me a hell of a lot of money so far, but I feel like I've got it to a really good place. And I can actually sit down and read my great-grandfather's company war diaries. I've got to find the rest of them. I actually had a very nice man go to the British Archives and photograph diaries that hadn't been digitized yet for me, but I'm buggered if I know where they are. But I want to find them and put them through Chronicle. I even scanned letters when my dad got burned in 1998. He was in hospital. He wrote my sister and I letters. And I was even able to get Chronicle to scan those really well for me and read them, where OCR would just, especially with handwriting, fail. And things like classification labels on pages and stamps from censors, just things that I could never read before with standard OCR. This is what I built Chronicle to try and overcome. And it's never going to be perfect. There are going to be difficulties, and you do need a Google API key if you're going to play with this. And of course, if you have a free one, you might be a bit limited, and it will cost you money. How bloody it's cost me money doing lots of test scans. But I feel with this project, I've really started to do something. And the few people I've had tested and have downloaded it on GitHub have said the same thing, and I've found a few new bugs that I've managed to kill. And I need to state again that I engineered the prompting and exactly what I wanted. Codex, in this case, did the actual coding in the back end. And I want to be very clear about that, because I'm not good at coding. But I'm really hoping that that Chronicle can really help people, because I tell you what, it's helping me.